Hey y'all, how's it going? So, this is another sensitive topic for me. Viewer discretion is again advised. Please don't have your little ones listen to any of this. I'm going to be talking about suicide attempts, alcoholism, mental abuse. This took place when I was in the 7th grade. Things weren't going very well between my parents. I can remember growing up, Mom would only drink beer during the summer months. Every day, but 1 or 2 a day at most then. Till I got to the 7th grade. When Mom wasn't working, she'd start opening up a can of beer at 10 o'clock in the morning, and she'd be drinking clear up until she'd go to bed at night. Got to the point where it led to my mom and dad constantly yelling and fighting at one another. It was taking a toll on my brothers and I. After everything I've previously gone through, so going to school, putting everything I could possibly behind me that I've already previously gone through, and then having family stuff going on, it got to the point where I was getting severely depressed. I was losing my focus somewhat with school. I mean, I still had my school friends, but I kept a majority of everything that I was going through to myself. Try to pretend that everything was okay, even though it really wasn't. And then having to go back home after school, Dad coming home off of work, Mom already being there, drinking, just for them to fight and yell at one another again. There was a weekend where Mom was drinking heavily. And whenever Mom get to a certain stage in her drinking was when we knew to do the best we could to stay away from her. She went instigating a majority of the family drama. You'd think that things would be okay for a little bit. You'd hope for some peace until she'd start something up again. She'd try to start shit up between my dad and my brothers, or my dad and I, or my brothers and I. I'd try to do whatever I could to be away from home whenever I could, whether it be with my childhood best friends or some other good friends of mine. Only to come back home and facing the same shit over and over again. It was so bad one weekend, just hearing my mom and my dad fighting. And that's all it was, just screaming and yelling at one another. I've never seen either one of them lay a hand on one another at all. It wasn't abuse, or it wasn't physical. It was just the constant yelling and screaming at one another that just got to us. It got to me so bad one morning that I was in my room with something, a sharp object, and I was attempting suicide. My dad happened to come in and catch me, only for him to take what I was using to harm myself. For him to go into his and my mom's room, yelling at her and accusing her of why I was doing what I was doing to myself. At that point, it felt like a fully dysfunctional family. We weren't a family anymore. Didn't seem like it. Doing everything I could to hold my shit together, especially for my younger brothers. I'd be glad with whatever peace I did have when it was just my brothers and I. After school, Mom not being there yet. That went on for several years. Several years. And yes, I had counseling. And with all that, and I had depression medication. And I had attempted suicide a couple other times that same year, until about the third time was that I realized that what I was trying to do wasn't working, that there was a reason I still needed to stick around. I'm sure those of you that have made it this far into my video, you know exactly what it is I'm talking about. When you have a loved one that has an alcohol problem, you can't talk to them. They're not the same person. For those that say, alcoholism isn't a disease, they must not know of anybody that has that kind of severity when it comes to drinking. There's no reasoning. You may as well not talk to them at all, period, because they're not that same person once they reach that certain phase in alcoholism. The best thing that we could try to done at the time was to try to find her when she's sober, to let her know what she was doing to us. I love my mama. I love her still. Regardless of everything that we had gone through for a family, believe it or not, my mom and dad, they stuck it through until the very end.